We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe, our food is unfit to eat, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and I'm just asking questions as to why this story where Google has officially announced that they are no longer putting a ban on AI weapon systems means anything at all, because the fact of the matter is, and we're going to have fun with this one today, Google, in essence, has been created and shepherded from the very inception as an AI weapon system, period, bar none. I mean, at its very essence of data collection, narrative manipulation, just the harvest of everything, the legitimization of not only the track trace database society through commercial goodies like this one, with the other technopoly Apple. I know everybody app's like, you know, Google and Apple, oh, you're safer with Apple than Google, or if you have Google and you've de-Googled these things. Look, give me a break. If you don't think that the powers that shouldn't be, the quote-unquote true deep state, has access to what they want to have access to, again, it just seems like you're playing in a bit of imagination land, and that's fine. That's fine. We can all be there some of the time, I guess. Nobody's perfect. However, we're going to show you what the public perception of Google is. We're going to take you through just a fraction of the stories that we could to illustrate the point that Google, from its very inception, has really been this military-industrial complex tool, a technopoly. You know, that's why I resisted the term technocracy for so long, because it felt like, just like we've played in the past now several times with Mark Andreessen, saying you have this walled-off garden, that because you have this walled-off garden, you can no longer really have any kind of competition. So even the bureaucracy or the feel of some kind of democratization isn't there, obviously. Now, Google in itself probably bought up the last really big tool of that, and that actually is YouTube. To me, when they bought that for, $8 billion, that was absorbing it. It didn't seem like they were under the thumb of the military-industrial complex. They had actually won out in that arena, and they figured, hey, it was just much cheaper to absorb them. And right now, we are streaming on that platform. And by the way, let's get the thumbs up, subscribe, share, ring the bells, check out the alt platforms. For instance, the Robert Malone and Jill Malone interview on their book War, Enforcing the New World Order. Not going to be able to be on this platform, but we're putting it on the other ones. So here's the deal. Before we get to this very loving video, and when we watch this video, I want people to ask themselves the very real question as to what you're seeing in that video, whether or not that has any kind of semblance to reality. Like, what are you seeing? Something that's real, or that feels like a commercial, like a beer commercial, right? Something that wants to get you to watch a movie and be engaged in that manner. So when you watch that, I really want people to check that out, because this is a rather new one. And when I talk about the Google, NASA, DARPA partnerships, this is what they want you to believe it's about. Okay? And it's the furthest thing from the truth. Before we get there, I need your support. Please consider going over and buying me a coffee. $5, $10, $15. It does mean the world to me. Also, you can follow me on X. Okay? X. Actually, listen, where are we at right now on X? If we have 10 followers out there, 10 newbies, go over, we will hit 46.3, and that's where you get some of the raw stories, just like this one we're about to go over. Some hilarity by Alex Stein. Great and relevant questions about 9/11 to this day. And, really stuff that sometimes I do not cover in these videos enough. And like I said, I'm going to be reposting these, but right here is that Malone interview and Chrissy Meyer, Stacey Washington, making sense of the madness. If you're on the Patriot.tv Rumble, they're already there. But again, can't be here on YouTube. Share the links with others. Let people know about the show. And without further ado, let's get into, again, what the public persona of what Google does with NASA and, others in the military industrial complex. Then we're going to go to examples of what they're really doing. All right? Here we go.
There is a fundamental truth in our nature. Humans are curious. It's wired into our DNA to wonder about the world, the universe, and our place in it. So we ask questions, observe the answers, and gather information. Volumes and libraries and oceans of it. And now we finally have the tools powerful enough to help make sense of it all. To ask bigger, more meaningful questions. How can we use AI to identify the resources we'll need to live on the moon? So we can build an outpost there and use it to get to Mars. Questions that help us look at problems in entirely new ways. How can we optimize millions of images to predict when the next great solar flare will occur? Will that give us enough time to protect the satellites that connect us all and avoid a power grid shutdown? Questions that are becoming increasingly more urgent. Can we generate hyper-accurate maps to identify a flood zone? That will help people evacuate before the rains even start? As the climate changes, what can we do to better protect our planet and everyone on it? Scientists from all over the world have come together to find answers to these questions, and others like them. Digging into their data, breaking it apart, prying insight and inspiration and progress from it. hoping to solve some of humanity's biggest problems.
So, you notice how they slip in the humanity's biggest problems, the climate agenda, which we're going to show you that's really one of the big motivations behind the NASA quote-unquote science and research, and it is about that agenda. But let's get into the fantasy. First of all, that's 99% actors, beautiful shots, CGI, imagination land. Like, there were little snippets of actual disaster footage and then lunar photography and quote unquote, the stock footage of astronauts getting on the rockets. I'm not even going to get into the Apollo debate here. That's not what we're here to do. But think about that. All that was just utter fiction. That's the very essence of Bernaysian propaganda. Now, let's just go through some quick things. And then what we're going to do is we're going to ask Grok some questions. We're going to utilize artificial intelligence to show you and illustrate even further how Google always has been a military-industrial complex arm or a Trojan horse civilian system. All right, concern over Google ending ban on AI weapons. SpaghettiOs. Now, look, in reality, yeah, this is concerning. Why? Because they're coming out and saying it. We already know that artificial intelligence is being used on the battlefield and that AI is the next tool and that AI has been a forerunner for Google in their partnership with NASA and the military-industrial complex. Let's start there. We already know, and I'm going to show you the walkouts, okay? The walkouts. Where are the walkouts? Is that it? Yeah, employees protest work for the Pentagon. They had walkouts back in 2018. Lavender's in effect now, everybody. Now they're just rolling out that, hey, we're using AI weapons. Ha ha, fooled you. Thanks for all the data. Next will be the predictive programming stuff that they start talking about. But that's what this is. All right? So when they announce it, it's just for the public arena. Already been happening. Now, big dog technology. Google sold Boston Dynamics to SoftBank 4 years after buying it. But Boston Dynamics, I mean, that's the ones bringing us, Atlas robots, all those other things. They scooped them up too. Eric Schmidt, here he is. Where is he? He's at the NASA 50th anniversary lecture. Because again, just like we showed you with the quantum computing arena, it's a Trojan horse civilian system. Remember, Schmidt is the one that advocated and working with Google. We talked about artificial intelligence, narrative management, Dragonfly, which was the censored internet in China. And look, anytime you talk about Chinese-style internet, I always say, hey, man, it's not Chinese style or any other style at this point. It's just censorship. And I get it. Trumpsky and Hutch signed that executive order. Where's the meat on those potatoes? Literally. Explain to me how that's working. Do I get to see the algorithm now over at X? I'm still waiting to see if I can get monetized on YouTube, the second largest search engine in the world after Google. Another arm of the Trojan horse civilian system, right? So I often show this, the future strategic issues of warfare, and actually we're gonna see what Grok has to say about this and much more. But on top of that, if you see my AI-driven thumbnail there are two organizations in the little monitors there, Alphabet and Calico. Now, Alphabet is the Big Daddy. That's the one where everything, including Google and YouTube, are under. So Google is a part of Alphabet. They have all sorts of juicy contracts. But here's Calico. And Calico, of course, is that immortality division. You can see here's Nature publication, but it talks about think big, explore broadly, collaborate constantly. Yep, I mean, they're trying to end death and reverse aging. And look, I get it. That pursuit of the fountain of youth, if you will, it's been around for a very long time. The tree of life, death and getting older, it's a cruel mistress. It's a tough pill to swallow. And if I thought there was technology out there where I could live a longer, happier life and my friends and my family could, all for it. All for it. However, there's a predator class out there that wants to sell us on two separate types of transhumanism. They want to say the one thing is out of reach as they experiment on us and do try to biologically live forever. And the rest of us get the idea that we can somehow upload our consciousness, this cheap copy of ourselves. In fact, totally unrelated, but last night, could not sleep. I mean, could not sleep, in real pain, and didn't know that I was even walking into a transhumanist movie. But I was on the Amazon Prime, and I saw Black Box. And I don't want to ruin it, because the twist on that one, when you kind of like actually understand what's going on, there are a few things that are hinting onto what's going on, but actually has more of a original premise. You're not thinking that transhumanism is really going to enter into it, and if you do, not in the manner that you believe. But I digress. I don't even want to go any further than that. I actually like the movie. If you haven't seen The Black Box, I think it is, on Amazon, I think it's an original there. Please go check it out. All right, let's do it. Let's have some Grokkins fun. Let's illustrate how Google has always been a military industrial complex company. So let's start with explain the relationship. Okay, that's fine. Relationship between Google, NASA, and DARPA. Okay. Let's get it all proper. And DARPA in the very beginning. See what we get here. So in the early days, the relationship between Google, NASA, and DARPA was primarily rooted in shared interests in technology, data, and research, especially in the fields of AI, computing, and space exploration. Here's a brief overview. See, they start with 2005. Actually, I'm just going to ask it why it left it out. So, why did you leave out the actual origins of the funding behind Google's original search engine? Let's put it on the spot. My apologies for the oversight. I can't. So Grok is now trying to. You see, this is why AI is trash, everybody. I asked about the beginning, and it didn't tell me. He said and it deceives you. It said in the early days. You see, it uses semantics like a lawyer. I asked about it in the beginning, and in the early, it doesn't answer the question. And then it apologizes to you. Wow. Can we get a thumbs up? We don't even have 100 people watching, but can we get 50 thumbs up? Think about how mind-blowing that is. And again, they're supposed to be in competition. Grok's supposed to be fighting the Google AI. Wait, but they're not. Ooh, now we're banned. We're taking off the ban. It's a weapons system. It always has been. God, that's frustrating. My apologies for the oversight in the previous response. Here's an expansion focusing on the funding origins behind Google's original search engine. So here's the Stanford University connection. Google's origins trace back to a research project by Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Stanford University named Backrub. The old Backrub, huh? The old Back Rubbington. You like that? Oh, man. National, and then here it is, the NSF, the National Science Funding. In early work on the search algorithm was partially funded through grants from the National Science Foundation, which supports research and education in all fields of science and engineering. The funding was crucial for the initial research and development phase at Stanford. DARPA, although not directly in the form of funding for Google's search engine development, it says that they actually thanked them in a letter, by the way. DARPA's broader investment in the internet's infrastructure and technology indirectly influenced the environment in which Google was born. Not indirectly. The ARPANET is the original internet. You see, AI is deceptive. It is deceptive. Okay? Now, they also talk about angel investors and venture capital. Well, now we're going to put it on the spot about InQtel. Okay? You see that? NASA and Google's later relationships. You notice they glossed over that NASA was involved in that funding in the very beginning. They know that too. Right? But again, they gloss over the NASA funding because it's directly linked to DARPA. And then they say the later relationship, well, NASA did not fund Google's initial search engine development. The later collaboration. What about the National Library Directive? What about the National Library Directive in the beginning? I mean, again, it has to apologize again. Whoo. So I want to throw up. I mean, does this not just illustrate that they've always got a cover story? My apologizing for not addressing this aspect. And now look how it goes down. Harvard, University of Michigan, New York Public Library, Oxford, and Stanford. Right? And let's see if it says anything about NASA or DARPA here. Right? There was no specific national library that funded or mandated Google's actions, but rather Google's proactive approach to digitize library content was part of the broader vision to organize and make accessible the world's information. So let's ask it again. We'll go a little bit deep on this one because I'm kind of angry that they don't want to talk about any of this. So what role did NASA and DARPA play in this directive? My apology for any confusion. There was no national. Oh, really? So Google Books and NASA, a direct connection between NASA and Google Books project. They're saying there's no direct connection. Google Earth and NASA, obviously. NASA's data and technology. Indirect influence from DARPA, and there's the ARPANET finally getting a mention. Right there. Finally. Talks about ARPANET laying the technology foundation. See, there it is right there. And subsequent projects like Google Books. It's from the inception. So now let's see. Let's talk about what about funding between Google and the CIA In-Q-Tel? Let's see. There it is. There's that, and that comes in what, in 2000. Well, so here they're giving me 2004, 2005. What is the earliest funding correlation? Oh, let's see. We got the earliest publicly known funding correlation between Google and CIA's venture capital arm In-Q-Tel relates to the investment in Keyhole Inc. Okay, so they're saying 2004, but they're saying that on the record. Interesting. Interesting indeed. So there you go. So let's ask, how many contracts with DOD, NASA, DARPA, or Pentagon has Google's parent company and its subsidiaries had over the years? And I'm probably butchering all that, but that's all right. We'll fix that and a little bit of that. And let's see what we get for that. Let's see. I've had numerous. Have they had more than 100? Let's see. Let's see if we get a number out of this. Yes. More than 1,000. It's not possibly to definitive whether Google, its parent company, Alphabet, and it's have had more than 1,000 contracts. Why not? Here's why. Many contracts with those involving are of national security interests. So they could go up to 100. I could probably keep creeping up, and we could find out by the hundreds. Contract nature, scope of engagement. I mean, there it is. I think we've kind of illustrated a whole lot of points about the military-industrial complex, artificial intelligence, Google being a Trojan horse civilian system, a weapon system from the beginning. In fact, you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's see what Grok has to say about NASA and that document. Let's have a little fun with that. Not too much fun, and then we'll get going again. Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. But let's ask Grok that. I think that should be fun. Let's see. If you were to summarize the importance of NASA's 2001 document, let's see, what would that summary say? Let's see. Let's see. How accurate would you consider that document, given we are now actually living in 2025? Let's see. See, he doesn't give anything. Anything. Nothing. Doesn't want to answer my question. Conclusions. Overall, the document was visionary in identifying the directions in technology that would take their implications for warfare and society. However, the specifics of how quickly and to what extent the technologies would be adopted or developed were not always accurate. Okay. What were the main inaccuracies in the document? Let's see. Let's see if we can find that. Speed nanotechnology adaptations. The document heavily emphasized nanotechnology role in future warfare, envisioning self-replicating nanobots, nanoscale sensors, and even molecular manufacturing by 2025. Okay. So let's start here. Reality. While nanotechnology has seen significant advancements, its impact on warfare by 2025 has been less. Really? I guess that's what narratives you believe. Binary and biological weapons, they downplay that. Quantum computing and military context, they are downplaying that. Look at AI is such. Oh man, but I bet you if I argued with it, it could apologize to me. Another time. Guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being with me. You know the drill. It's not about left or right. It's always about right and wrong. Consider $5, $10, $15. The links are down below. Give me a follow over on X. I absolutely love you, and we will see you all on the flip side.